you absolutely 100% do not want to be here tonight? Go ahead, it's okay, raise your hand if you don't want to be here. Parents, right, it's usually you. I know you've been driving since God gave out a driver's license. You never had a ticket, you never had an accident, why do you need to be here tonight? Just keep in mind you are here to support your teens. Matter of fact, parents, do me a favor, go ahead and turn to your teen and repeat after me. There's a high probability that even I will learn something tonight. Now teens, go ahead and turn to your parents and repeat after me. Well, it's about time. Right? My name is Chris. I'm one of the public information officers for the California Highway Patrol. Guys, part of my responsibility is I respond to all fatalities no matter what time of day it is. Because of what I've seen, I come to you with a great deal of passion. Because I've seen more blood, guts, gore, and grime than any one person should ever have to see. I come to you with a great deal of passion because there's absolutely no such thing as an accident. It's a traffic collision because some bonehead or some knucklehead made a poor driving choice caused it to happen. Tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in San Diego. I live right down the street. Went to a place called Point Loma Nazarene University. Anybody know where that's at? Yeah, it was not a rough life. Although I was an engineering major, I always knew I wanted to be in law enforcement. Teens will probably have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. Parents will probably remember when I tell you Ponch and John from Chips were my heroes growing up. So in '99, I joined the California Highway Patrol, went to the academy in Sacramento, California, where I fell in love with high-speed driving. Driving 110, 120, 130 miles an hour around the high-speed track, sliding a patrol car around a corner 30, 40, 50 miles an hour using four-wheel drift and throttle steering. It looked a little something like this.
I'll tell you what though, the new officer that's sitting next to you right now, at some point during this demonstration is going to tell you you can drive like this, you can drive like that. And I would...
Alright, raise your hand if you think it's me behind the wheel of the car. Well, I appreciate that. I remember you guys on the freeway, the rest of you guys are in trouble. I had an interesting dilemma in '99. I got hired by the California Highway Patrol. At the same time, I got hired by the San Diego Police Department. Tough decision to make. At the time, I had a lot of CHP friends, and one of them explained it to me best this way. He said, Chris, there's two types of law enforcement. There's general law enforcement, and there's traffic law enforcement. With general law enforcement, 9 out of 10 of their contacts, those are society's problem children. The people that don't have the ability to make decisions for themselves. You got to tell Johnny not to beat up on Susie. You got to take people's kids away from them. You're dealing with jerks all day long. If 90% of your contacts are dealing with jerks, don't you think that would have a negative impact on your outlook on life? Yeah, absolutely. The other side of that coin is traffic law enforcement. Where 9 out of 10 of my contacts, that's just American Joe Blow citizen that made a mistake and respect us for the job that we do. So, did I want to deal with jerks all day long? Or did I want to drive fast and chase bad guys? Obviously, I made the right choice. I know I didn't look old enough, thank you very much. That's my daughter, Brooke. 12 and a half at the time. She's 18 now. This was my attempt to get her really uncomfortable with the back of a patrol car. Yeah, as you can see, there's a big fat smirk on her face. That is Brooke shooting the AR-15. That's the assault rifle we carry in our patrol cars, where I'm teaching her the mechanics as well as to respect its power. And that's Brooke now. Yeah, you can imagine what I deal with, dads, right? Not fun. Not fun at all. All right, so why are we here? Well, I know why I'm here, but it's really important for you guys to know why you're here. In the last 10 years, we've lost 69,000 teens behind the wheel of a car. 69,000. Let's take a mental field trip for a second. Let's stand on a 50-yard line at Qualcomm Stadium where my Chargers play. Let's fill every single seat up with America's teens and then completely wipe them off the face of the earth. And teens, that's how many of you guys have killed yourself behind the wheel of a car in the last 10 years. See, you're entering the single most dangerous year of your life, where you are 50% more likely to be involved in a fatal traffic collision than any other single year. Number one cause of your death, it's not diabetes, it's not heart disease, it's not cancer. Number one cause of your death up to the age of 19 is a traffic collision. So what's killing you guys? Well, I can attribute every fatality to one of 3 factors, and in some cases, all 3 factors. Speed, DUI, and seatbelts. Is it a lack of knowledge? No, because you know you're not supposed to speed, you know you're not supposed to drink and drive, and you know you're supposed to wear your seatbelt. Is it a lack of physical limitations? No, it's scientifically proven that between the ages of 15 and 19, you're physically in your prime. Your reflexes are the best they're ever going to be. So enjoy it while it lasts, right? So if it's not a lack of knowledge and it's not a lack of physical limitations, then what is it? Parents, you ever wonder why at the age of 25, your insurance premiums get cut in half and you can rent a car? Because there's a biological explanation that near the age of 25, you have full frontal lobe development. Helps you to determine right versus wrong, risk versus gain. So teens, you know what the right choice is, you just choose not to make it. Is that a valid excuse? Is that going to work for you when I walk up the ticket book? Officer Turner, you cannot write me that citation. I do not have full frontal lobe development. No, it's not going to work out for you at all. Don't be offended by the scenes, but you have what's called a video game mentality. Whether you play video games or not is irregardless, but metaphorically speaking, you sit in front of a TV all day where you're playing your video games. You're running, you're shooting, you're fighting, you're driving, you run out of fuel, you run out of lives, reach over, push the reset button, go back and try to beat your last score. But what's the awesome thing that happens in the state of California at the age of 16? You get your license, right? We take you from in front of that TV, we put you behind the wheel of a 5,000-pound vehicle that can take your life or the life of someone else. And when the dust settles, guess what? You don't get timeouts, you don't get do-overs, you don't get to push the reset button. One of two things is going to happen. Either one, I put you in a body bag, or two, I put you in handcuffs and I take you to jail. So what is Start Smart? Well, you're about to find out, right? Teen Start Smart is a crash course in the realities of what can happen when you get behind the wheel and you make a poor decision. Parents, if you know a teen that can benefit from this program, you can actually go onto the CHP website and register them. On the side of our patrol car, you're going to see safety, service, and security. That's our mission, and that's our motto. Believe it or not, we care about your safety, and we do that directly through traffic enforcement. There's a direct correlation between the reduction of the mileage death rate and traffic enforcement. What does that mean? That means the more tickets I write, the more lies I save. Case in point, we had one of the deadliest highways in California right here in San Diego County, Highway 67. You guys know where that's at? Yeah. It had less than half the statewide average of traffic collisions, but more than double the statewide average of fatalities. We applied for a grant, we got that grant, we put 24-hour enforcement on that highway. What do you think happened to the fatalities? They disappeared, completely disappeared. Let me ask you this. If you're my graveyard partner, we're working together. We respond to a fatality where we deal with the blood, the guts, the gore, and the grime. We deal with the loss of life and the family emotions. The very next night, you and I go out on patrol, we see some knucklehead doing the exact same thing that just killed a family before the night before. Do you think we're going to care what their excuses when we walk up with that ticket book? No, absolutely not. Guys, this video I'm going to show you is Red Asphalt 5. Believe it or not, it's not the old cheesy 70s version. They're going to talk to you about 4 stories on this video, 2 of which occurred right here in San Diego County. It's pretty gory, so prepare yourself.
It's funny, you never hear about fear of driving. People won't swim because they're afraid of sharks, or they're afraid to fly because of plane crashes. But behind the wheel of a car, we're invincible. The thing is, we're not. Vehicle crashes kill more than 42,000 Americans each year, and crashes are the #1 cause of death among teenagers. Teenagers represent 10% of the U.S. population, but account for 14% of traffic deaths. Blah, 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 right? Statistics, statistics. That won't happen to me. But the people you're about to meet aren't statistics. They're real. They never thought it could happen to them. They never thought they'd lose a loved one. They never thought they'd end up here. This is the real thing. No actors. No reenactments. No special effects. This is how it went down.
We hit head-on ledge on Diver at 80 and 90 miles per hour. We threw us in a ditch. And I just couldn't believe that my brother was killed and I was as injured as I was. I lost my kidney, my spleen, my left eye, my eyelid, my hip. I have pain every day. I had so much metal in my body. I had metal in my arm, and I had metal in my stomach, and in my face, my eye.
I jumped in the car, I got beside him, and I put my arm around him and said, "Hey buddy, Dad's right here." And he just kind of leaned over against my chest. And I just started talking, and I looked over, and his left arm, his pitching arm, was completely broken in half. Looked down, his femur was broken in half, his bones were sticking out. And he had a lot of lacerations to the face. And I looked and I just started pleading, Lord, don't take my son from me. I got to have my son. I never cried before this. I spent months in my bathroom, curled up like a little baby. And with my son.
Unfortunately, we see a lot of people behind the wheel under the influence of alcohol or some kind of drug. And they have to understand, those people that do that a vehicle becomes a deadly weapon in the hands of an impaired person. A crash is definitely not an accident. An accident is something that was not avoidable. A crash is definitely avoidable. And a crash is always as a result of somebody not doing what they were supposed to be doing behind the wheel.
They were driving in the car. Nick had a big grin on his face. He was so happy. He said he was going to scare Daniel. And so Nick just put his foot on the gas. And he was going really fast, and Daniel screamed, "Slow down," because he knew they weren't going to make that curve. And instead of just like taking his foot off the gas, Nick slammed on the brake as hard as he could. And as soon as he did that, they went sideways, and they just slammed into the tree.
911, what's your emergency? Hey, we got a really nasty weather. High school looks like a car is in a tree and it's two pieces. And I'm heading over there to see if anyone needs help.
The night before, I was with him. I was in that passenger seat. And it seemed perfectly fine. He seemed to be a really good driver, He was taking all the precautions. I never realized that he could lose his life like that. And I never realized that I could say, no, Nick, don't do that. I didn't think anything would happen to him.
Nick's attitude was, "It's my life, I'll do what I want." He had no clue that this would be the outcome, and that it was just, he was just reckless. And it's amazing the number of kids that have died at trees and lampposts because they hit them at the driver's side, and they don't have to be going that fast.
You don't have to be going 60 miles per hour to die in a collision. There's a lot of ghosts. They don't even think that you can die from a collision at that speed. Every collision, there's three crashes. There's a vehicle collision, then there's the human collision where you're hitting something in the vehicle, and then the one that kills you, what a lot of teens and parents don't know about or think about, is an internal collision. So all your organs are going forward once you impact something. And that's a collision that actually is the most devastating and the one that's more likely to kill you.
This person was a mother or a father, a son or a daughter, a brother or a sister. They were a co-worker to somebody. This person had a life, and there's a lot of people that are personally affected with that loss. And when we talk to the family members, and they relate how great of an individual this was and what a great loss and void is in their life, it's almost equally hard for them to accept the fact that, in most cases, it was preventable. The Highway Patrol, we're going to be responsible for cleaning you up when you crash and kill yourself. And it's not pretty. It's not a pretty sight. And if you ever take a trip to the morgue, you ever see what an autopsy looks like, or you ever go by an accident scene and you see what the devastation looks like on the relatives' faces of someone who's been killed in an accident, you wouldn't make that choice.
He just turned 19. He actually had 3 friends in the backseat. My wife, she goes, "What happened?" He goes, "It was Michael." an accident. He said he didn't make it back. He died instantly.
We all are.
I just remember we were upside down and it was quiet. And I'm like, guys, say something. And nobody was responding. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm the only one alive in the back and everybody else dead, you know. And I was upside down and I'm like, okay. I put my hand on the ceiling of the car for some support because the only thing that's holding me in place is the seatbelt. And I just felt like all this, you know, blood. And it was just like, okay, somebody's hurt here, you know. And I kept asking, you know, where's Mike? Is Mike okay? Where's Mike? And he's like, well, you know, everybody's okay. I'm like, you know, you haven't said anything about Mike. And he's just like, Mike didn't make it.
We lost our son. It's so painful. I know that they're young and they want to enjoy their lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. But do it cautiously. You don't just, a vehicle's a machine, you have to respect it.
Well, like we would do every day, just driving around, having fun with our friends, you know, I mean, it was no big deal. I never thought I was like getting hurt in an accident, you know, I figured out driving the truck, driving the Suburban, a Blazer, why would I be scared? You know, it's the other people that should be scared. And my brother was in the Suburban, and it folded on. It was basically in an L shape, and now where my brother sat is right where the tree on the driver's side. It was so compacted that I could stand on the passenger side and put my arm under the bottom and touch the driver's side like that. And it's a full-size Suburban.
You know, the thing about bigger vehicles and perhaps the assumption of being a safer vehicle is that when a certain vehicle gets to a certain speed, no vehicle is considered safe.
So I'm like, okay, we're in an SUV. And you think about it, if anything ever happens and it flips, how bad can it really be?
There's a lot of distractions. You have friends in the car, you have a radio going, you might want to change the CD. And it takes 100% of your attention to operate a motor vehicle.
Driving a motor vehicle is multitasking in and of itself, even without any outside distraction.
We don't really know. I can only speculate. Something had happened. Either they were goofing off or talking on a cell phone or playing music or possibly been under the influence. The car hit a telephone pole and Matthew was killed instantly from a broken neck. No parent should have to live like this.
You know, we personalize the loss of life. To do that, we go out there and we do enforcement. We write citations for speeding. We write citations for seatbelt violations. And we remove drunk drivers before they hurt and kill people on the roadway. And it's a proven fact that those things save lives.
My daughter Leslie was coming home from her friend's house, and there were two groups of kids speeding badly, and one got ahead of the other one. And he was in the fast lane. The other one's trying to catch up, but in doing so, he lost control. And he went across the median, and he hit Leslie head on, going 90 to 95. And she was killed instantly. They're just crazy driving, and it's costing people life. And when you lose something as pretty as Leslie was, and as special as she was, you don't get a second chance to have that, you know, it's just gone. We lose 42,000 people on the highway every year. That's the same as losing 2 jets per week, every year. We lose that many people on the road.
Imagine one of the last choices you make being a completely avoidable consequence. In other words, you make that choice to engage in a speed contest and race another car. If you knew the outcome was going to be death, would you make that choice? If you knew that not wearing a seatbelt was going to mean you never seeing your family again, would you still make that choice?
car is a machine that can destroy lives in an instant. Getting behind the wheel is an awesome responsibility. Slow down, pay attention, drive sober.
Offices in San Diego County. We've got the Oceanside office, which I'm out of, the San Diego office, and the El Cajon office. In Oceanside, we respond to 1, sometimes 2 fatalities a week. San Diego is doing between 2 and 4 fatalities a week, and El Cajon does between 2 and 3 fatalities a week. I want you to be my partner for a second. I want you to be the Assistant Public Information Officer. And remember, we respond to fatalities no matter what time of day it is. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from Sergeant Kenny Perez, says, hey Chris, I got another fatality northbound 15, just south of Citricata Parkway, and I need you to respond. Anybody know where that's at? In Escondido? A few years ago, they were extending the carpool lanes through the Escondido corridor. They had temporary concrete K-rails to separate the construction zone from the traffic lanes. In this particular location, they had an opening in the concrete K-rails to allow the construction equipment to enter the construction zone. So I call you up, say, hey partner, we got another fatality, be by to pick you up, swing by with a patrol car, scoop you up. We head out to the scene. This is the first thing that we see. Contact the investigating officer, Officer Stapleton, says, hey Chris, this vehicle right here was northbound in number 3 lane at about 70, 75 miles an hour. The vehicle drifts from the 3 to the 2 to the 1, goes into the center median, and head on with the concrete K-rail at about 70, 75. Driver never hit the brakes, how do we know? No impending skids. The impact is so severe it pushes the front bumper to the back of the dash, the engine compartment into the driver's lap and kills the driver instantly. You and I walk up to the driver's side door of the vehicle, we open the driver's side door, this is the first thing that we see. Anybody know what this is? This is a fatal blanket. This is what we cover all the deceased bodies with. There's a foul smell in the air, not horrible, but once you smell it and recognize it, I promise you, you'll never ever forget it, sometimes described as the smell of death. We peel that fatal blanket back, and what we discover is an 18-year-old girl who just graduated from San Marcos High School. We cover the body back up, shut the door, go back to putting the puzzle pieces back together, because that's what we do as highway patrolmen, and a vehicle rolls up into our scene. Important for us to know who's in our scene at all times, right? So you and I contact the driver of that vehicle. Younger gentleman rolls down the window frantically. Says, hey, that's my girlfriend's car. Is she okay? What do we get to tell him? That she didn't make it. He turns a pale shade of white. He starts sobbing uncontrollably. We get him calmed down just enough so he can drive home when she does. What's the very first phone call he makes? Her parents. That's right. Minivan rolls up into our scene. You and I contact the driver of that minivan. Older gentleman rolls down the window frantically. He says, hey, that's my daughter's car. And oh, by the way, this is her mother. Is she okay? What do we get to tell those parents? That their daughter is never, ever coming home. Mother immediately gets out of the passenger side of the van, starts heading for the vehicle. You and I stop her halfway, tears running down her face. She begs and she pleads with us, please let me just spend a couple more minutes with my daughter before you take her away. Do we ever, ever want a mother to see their daughter in that condition? No. Teens, I'm going to explain something to you. I don't expect you to understand it. I don't expect you to comprehend it, but I absolutely 100% expect you to remember it. In about 10 or 15 years, and hopefully you wait that long, you're going to experience the miracle of life. You're going to bring a child into this world for the first time in your life. You're going to love something greater than yourself. You've now been given a duty and a responsibility to care for that child, and if any ill will should ever come to that child, you take it personally. I'm sure in many cases, teens, your parents probably told you no, and sometimes you don't understand why. See, we've been given a sixth sense to know when to tell you no. We do it because we care about you, and we do it because we love you. Teens, why don't you take a look around the room real quick? I'm sure this is everybody from your high school, right? This is a pretty small group, so statistically speaking, probably one of you, before the age of 19, will be involved in a major injury collision where you will suffer major injuries or death. That's a statistical fact. It's really not funny. It's the truth. See, only about half of you will pay attention to what I have to say tonight. Only about 1 or 2 of you will implement what I have to say in your driving habits. Something to think about. What causes crashes? Anybody know? Nobody knows what causes crashes? Speed, you're right. What else? Lots of bad judgment going on out there. Distracted driving, absolutely. Guys, unsafe speed and following too closely, these comprise 90% of our crashes. If people would slow down and back off, 90% of our crashes would not occur. Unsafe lane change, I'm sure that's happened to you a couple times, right? Distracted driving we'll talk about. More distracted driving. drowsy drivers. Guys, for the life of me, I don't get this one. I just told you a real life true story, every single detail of it, of an 18-year-old girl who fell asleep at the wheel of a car. If you're tired, is it a secret? No, right? You got to do something about it. Rolling down the window and turning up the radio is not going to work for you. You got to go to 7-Eleven, right? Get yourself a Rockstar, a Monster. In my case, you go to Starbucks. Ice Americano, extra ice and 2 Splenda. Call it crack in the cup. It's a legal word. You guys got to do something about it. Peer pressure. Parents, would you agree this is a disease for which there's absolutely no cure? Yeah. Teens, do you think the parents still suffer from this on occasion? Yes, they do. They just won't admit it to you. And showing off with friends, which we'll talk about. Cell phone and texting. How many professional texters do we have in the room tonight? I know I've got at least one. You're good. You can listen to the presentation and text simultaneously. That's impressive. Any more professional texters? No? Nobody? Let's talk about cell phone use. What's the difference between talking on your cell phone and listening to your radio? When you're talking on your cell phone is one thing. When you're listening to your radio, you're enjoying what's being played or said, otherwise you change the station, right? But when you're talking on your cell phone, you're now actively engaged in a conversation. Your primary mental obligation, which is supposed to be your driving, is now moved to the back burner of your brain, and in essence, you're driving subconsciously. It's scientifically proven, guys, when you're talking on your cell phone, you only perceive 50% of the things that happen on the roadway in front of you. Half the things that go by you, you don't even know are there. Because of this, you're now 4 times more likely to be involved in a traffic collision. 4 times. Let's talk about intoxicated drivers real quick. The presumptive intoxicated level in the state of California, 0.08% blood alcohol concentration. 0.08%, you're drunk, you take it to jail. Guess how much more likely you are to be involved in a traffic collision when you're drunk? 4 times. So officer parent, you're telling me I'm just as likely as a drunk driver to be involved in a traffic collision when I'm talking on my cell phone? Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. And we're not even talking about texting, right, professional texter? When you receive that text message, it takes your attention away from the roadway, on average, 4.6 seconds. When you respond to that text message, it takes your attention away from the roadway an additional 4.6 seconds. Guys, that's an eternity when you're driving a 5,000-pound vehicle at 115 feet per second down the freeway. If I told you to drive down the freeway at 70 miles an hour with your eyes closed for 9 seconds, could you do it? Would you do it? No. And I know you've seen them, right? Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Guys weaving all over the place. You're like, I can't believe this guy is drunk. It's Wednesday at 2. You pull up next to him, what are they doing? Texting. Guess how much more likely you are to be involved in a traffic collision when you're texting? Guess how much more likely? 8 times. Twice that of a drunk driver. Which makes no sense. You drunk, you crash, we take you to prison. You text, you crash, we write you a $162 citation, yet you're twice more likely to be involved in a traffic collision. Let's see what my friend Katie has to say about this. You guys love her.
Katie here to talk to you about your driving habit. So, here you are driving along with your course. You got your window down, tunes blaring, you're going like toddlers in a candy shop. When you, the driver, decides to impress your friends with an outlandish display of horsepower. Really? Breaking the speed limit? Risking your life just for kicks and giggles? Come on, people. That's called reckless driving. How about this little scenario? You are a safe driver who never speeds or breaks the law, but as you are driving, you just have to send that important text message about the guy who lets the girl to school, or does he know, or does she know, or do you know, or whoopsie daisy, you just hit a telephone pole. Hello, folks! You're driving a 6,000-pound metal beast! Don't you think the latest awesome school gossip is late? That's distracted driving. You drive like that in my hood, my mom will be all up with your girl. Faster than you could say, oh no, she's been your girlfriend. I don't know.
All right, raise your hand if you feel sorry for her future husband. All right, give me 1 second. This video likes to play twice. All right, in this video, guys, you're going to see a front-wheel drive white Acura Integra. This guy has got a right front passenger who is unrestrained. He is jumping a hill in the roadway. He's got a cameraman on the other side of the hill recording how far he jumps. On his third attempt, he lands on the wrong side of the road, overcorrects to the right, runs out of talent, overturns his vehicle, and ejects his right front passenger if you watch just above the tree line.
Ils étaient trois dans la voiture, ils ont monté une première fois sur le pont. Puis, les deux amis de Mathieu sont descendus. La semaine prochaine, les parents de Mathieu remettront ces images à la Société d'assurance automobile, la SAC, qui a l'habitude d'utiliser des images chocs pour convaincre les automobilistes d'être prudents.
Did the passenger survive? No, definitely he did not. Guys, in this video, you're going to see a young man on his motorcycle. His girlfriend's on the back. His buddy's in the lane next to him, recording it on a cell phone camera as he's popping wheelies. Watch what happens. It happens fast. Man, that hurts me every time I see it. A couple questions for you. Do you think she is still his girlfriend? No. Do you think he went back together? I don't know if that would have been a good idea. All right, in this video, you're going to see four young men driving through a residential neighborhood. They think it's hilarious that they're going to pull up next to two young men riding on their bicycles and attempt to push them off as they drive by. Watch what happens. Something serious just happened, no kidding. If that young man would have died, what would we have seen? Pre-planned, premeditated event, took a life of somebody else besides yourself. What is that? Minimum manslaughter, right? You think those four young men got in that vehicle that day and say, hey, let's go severely injure one of us and ruin the lives of the rest of us? No, of course they did. Teens, I'm going to fill you in on a little secret. My junior and senior year, I didn't get along with my parents too well. I wrestled in high school, and Friday nights after the wrestling meets, when all my buddies got to go to the parties, do you think I got to go? No, I didn't. But come Monday morning, when I heard about all the things that happened at the party, if I would have been there and the sheriff's department would have shown up, would I be a CHP officer today? No. What do all good jobs have in common? Little thing called backgrounds, right? You got to check that box if you've been convicted of the felony or the misdemeanor. The California Highway Patrol, second hardest law enforcement agency in the United States to get into. We hire 1 out of 1,000 applicants. Where do we lose the majority of the applicants? Backgrounds. What's a background investigator's best friend right now? Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Guys, I don't care if you put the pictures and the posts on there, if you've ever deleted them, if you've ever put them on there, we've got them. Matter of fact, you guys are all using your cell phone to take pictures, right? Digital photography, we've got latitude and longitude. We know exactly where those photos occurred. So you might want to stick to Skype. Yeah? No? All right. Guys, every 15 minutes, some of the United States is seriously injured or killed in a DUI-related traffic collision. Every 15 minutes. How long have we been in here? 45? That's 3 people since we've been in here. That's a lot of people. What's your name, man? You, yes.
Bobby.
Bobby. How old are you, Bobby?
15.
15. You're going to be in my scenario. Is that cool? Good, you didn't have a choice. All right. You go to high school here, right? Are you a freshman?
Yeah.
Right. So you're 15, but in my scenario, you're going to be 18. You're going to be going to your high school graduation party. Sounding good? All right. You got dad's car. Pick a couple of your friends up. You head off to the party. You're going to be the designated driver, Bobby. How much alcohol can be in a system, guys? 0 alcohol. Bobby, you get to the party. Your friends, they go off and do all the fun stuff, man. They're drinking out of the keg. They're playing beer pong. You know what I'm talking about, right? You do. That one you're down when you get home, all right? You're the only guy, Bobby, at that party that doesn't have an alcoholic beverage in his hand. Good news, Bobby. Across that party, you're going to see a bright orange, shiny Coleman cooler. You're going to walk over to that cooler, Bobby. You're going to open it up. You're going to pull out an ice-cold Coors Light. How do we know it's ice-cold? Because the mountains are blue, right? You're going to pop that top of that beer. You're going to now nurse that beer throughout the party. Feeling a little bit better about your lifestyle. Now you're fitting in, right? Peer pressure's off you. Party's over. Beer's hot. How do we know? Mountains are no longer blue, right? You're going to set down your hot beer. You're going to grab your drunk, stupid friends. They're going to get in the vehicle. You're going to get in the vehicle. You're going to head out to the freeway. Bobby, then what happens? No, you're going to see my pretty little red and blue lights in the rearview mirror, right? You're going to pull over the right shoulder. I'm going to walk up. Sir, I stopped you for your speed. I need to see your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Oh, by the way, I smell the odor of an alcoholic beverage, anything to drink tonight. 18 years old, guys, what is he going to tell me? No. Of course he's going to say no, right? Do I say have a nice day? Or do I have a duty and responsibility to the motoring public of the state of California to make sure he's okay to drive? Choice number 2, good guess. So Bobby, I'm going to get you out of the vehicle. I'm going to ask you some pre-field sobriety test questions, right? I'm going to make you take some field sobriety tests, and then I'm going to get out the preliminary alcohol screening device. Helps me to determine your blood alcohol content. In the event you are arrested, sober, required to submit to a chemical test of your blood or breath for 23.612 of the vehicle code. Did you get that? Nobody else did, right? 18 years old, guys. Does he have the right to refuse the pass test? He's an adult now, right? Bobby, let me ask you a question. At 18, can you legally go down to 7-Eleven and purchase a 6-pack of Coors Light?
No.
No. At 18, can you legally consume any portion of that 6-pack of Coors Light besides the cardboard box?
No.
No. So therefore, guys, he can have 0 alcohol in his system, and he does not have the right to refuse the pass test. Bobby, you're going to blow into the pass device. You're going to blow 0.05 below the legal limit. What's the legal limit in the state of California? 0.08. You're going to be okay, right? No. You, your drunk, stupid friends in the vehicle, they're all mine. And guess who I get to call to come pick you up?
My dad.
Pops. Yeah, that's right. Think you'd be happy about that? No. All right, Bobby, now we're going to change the scenario, buddy. Now you're going to be 21. You're going to be at a frat party. Yeah, this is getting good, right? No girls there, Bobby. 0 girls. Just you and a bunch of guys having a couple beers with your buddies. Time for you to go home because you got finals the next day. Bobby, you jump into the vehicle, head out to the freeway, then what happens? Creating little red and blue lights in your rearview mirror, right? You're going to pull over right shoulder, walk up, sir, I stopped for your speed. I need to see your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance. Oh, by the way, I smell the odor of an alcoholic beverage, anything to drink tonight. 21 years old, guys, what do they all tell me? Guys, whether they had a sip of vodka or 2 24 packs of beer, they all say the same thing. I had 2 beers, like it's a public service announcement, right? So, Bobby, I'm going to get you out of the vehicle. I'm going to ask you some pre-field sobriety test questions. Maybe take some field sobriety tests. Then I'm going to get off the pass device. 21 years old, guys, does he have the right to refuse the pass test? Yes. Does he?
Yes. Yes.
Bobby, at 21, you have the right to refuse my pre-field sobriety test questions. You have the right to refuse the field sobriety test. And you have the right to refuse the preliminary alcohol screening device. Before you do something stupid like that, let me tell you a little story about a former prominent football player here in San Diego. Prior DUI, well-educated by his attorney, at his girlfriend's house, has a couple glasses of wine, time for him to go home, jumps in his brand new Bentley, heads out to the freeway. Our officer